How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we're going to talk about this very interesting topic. If you don't know, this month is Pride Month. I had no idea. So I guess they want to make this month of June be the equivalent of Black History Month in February, which I am kind of offended by, but I digress. Apparently, there are certain things you can and cannot do in Pride Month. And one of the things you can't do was discovered by Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey. Now, this guy is super duper progressive, quote unquote progressive. And when I say progressive, I do mean progressive. I'll place a picture on the screen before you. This is him alongside Black Lives, LIES leader DeRay McKesson, wearing the Black Bird shirt. This is a group within Twitter that I suppose Jack came up with that has Black interests in mind. This guy couldn't really be more so-called progressive if he tried, but apparently he is not progressive enough for some of the LGBTQ extremists that we're going to see in this lovely article from the Huffington Post. And you see the headline over my left-hand shoulder. If you really love LGBTQ people, you just can't keep eating Chick-fil-A. Now, I think the reason why this article is being written is because of Chick-fil-A's viewpoint on gay marriage. They're not really for it, and they also close on Sunday. So, of course, Christian people seem to be the target of the LGBTQIA, whatever community. As of late, we saw the whole thing with the baker, and shout out to the baker for winning a slight victory, but a victory nonetheless. We're starting to see the kickback of these kind of people, but apparently they're still out here. Maybe they've not gotten the memo yet that their time bullying other people is numbered. But let's get into the article. And before we get into the article, I just want to say Chick-fil-A is fantastic. I mean, I go there a lot. Shout out to the waffle fries, the chicken sandwiches, the chicken tendies, the nuggets, the good sauce they have, Chick-fil-A, sriracha, all that. I'm not being paid by Chick-fil-A. I'm just giving you my honest viewpoint, but I digress. And the article reads, when I was growing up, there were a few things as exciting to me as a trip to the Regency Mall in Racine, Wisconsin for lunch at Chick-fil-A. My family didn't have much money then, so eating out was a rare treat. But when the trip included waffle fries, an ingenious food so alien to southern Wisconsin in the early 80s that they seemed like small, salty miracles to my tiny, still soft mind, it was almost too much for me to take. Okay, so we've established that you like Chick-fil-A, you think the food is good, or at least you did once like them. Still, as delicious as the Georgia-based company's fried foods were, they weren't my only weakness as a child. When I wasn't fantasizing about Greece, I was spending my young swishy days doing a really bad, I'm not going to do no cursing on here, but you can see it, job of hiding my insatiable hunger for other boys. Okay, I don't want this to turn into a romance novel, sir, so I need you to get to the point of the article and why Jack Dorsey is some kind of homophobe or whatever for eating chicken tendies, but I digress. I was a kind of gay that doesn't go unnoticed. It wasn't until I escaped to college that I finally began to accept who and what I was. Once I did, I vowed to never let anyone make me feel like I was less than them simply because I lusted after and loved other men. Okay, so can you imagine how upsetting it was for me when Chick-fil-A's president Dan Cathy proudly came out as a homophobe for supporting traditional marriage? Blasphemous. In 2012, by claiming we are inviting God's judgment on our nation when we shake our fist at him and say we know better than you as to what constitutes a marriage. And I pray God's mercy on our generation that has such a prideful, arrogant attitude to think we have the audacity to define what marriage is about. I don't see anything wrong with that. If that's your faith, that's what you believe in, then I don't see what's the big deal. And set the record straight, I don't really care if you're gay, LGBT, or whatever, but I do think marriage should be between one man and one woman. That's just my personal point of view. And a compromise for me would be to leave it up to the states. If California wants to have gay marriage, that's fine. But if Nevada does not, then that's fine as well. It should be up to the individuals in a particular place, not just for one sweeping rule that goes over the entire nation without respect to any individual's communities, any individual's religious rights, or what have you. Even worse, the company put its money where Cathy's foul mouth was by donating millions of dollars each year to anti-LGBT organizations via its WinShape nonprofit organization. Now, I like to see what these anti-LGBT organizations are. Let's see if we can just hop on over here. Okay, anti-gay groups, Marriage and Family Legal Fund, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, National Christian Foundation, Focus on the Family, Eagle Forum, Exodus International, Family Research Council. So, I mean, what are we really doing here? Is it about being anti-gay, or is it about being pro-Christianity? And if you are against these groups that are pro-Christianity, what does that make you? Are you violating religious beliefs? What's really going on? I don't know, but I will place this article here in the box below so you're able to read it in depth and see exactly why they call them anti-gay groups. As disappointed as I was to learn that chain I loved as a child was working to make my life and the lives of my fellow queers a living hell, I was heartened by the swift response from the queer community and its supporters. For several years, the only time you catch an LGBTQ person or an ally at Chick-fil-A was for a protest. And then something changed. For some strange reason, I still don't fully understand, some queer people and their friends and families began eating at Chick-fil-A again and are still eating there. Oh my goodness gracious. Man, God forbid that somebody who happens to be gay wants a chicken sandwich. I mean, come on, really? Like this, to say that somebody can't go to a certain place because of their sexual preference or whatever you want to call it seems very bigoted to me. If somebody wants to eat Chick-fil-A, then let them do that. If they don't, then let them do that. You should be able to have freedom of association, freedom of choice. You shouldn't be forced to do a thing or to not do a thing. I venture a guess that Cathy's somewhat conciliatory yet ridiculously inadequate non-apology and the company's totally bogus promise to stop donating to anti-LGBTQ groups, while it may have ceased funding some groups, it's certainly still bankrolling others, may have made some people feel justified in returning to the chain. People can be disturbingly indignant and defiant when faced with giving up their beloved chicken sandwiches. I mean, hey, if I was in your shoes, if I was gay or something like that, and you try to tell me, hey, you can't go to Chick-fil-A, I'll be like, hey, man, look, I need those chicken tendies in my life. I cannot go without a sriracha and a diet lemonade. I got to have it. So, hey, man, I might be with you on the protest somewhere else, but Chick-fil-A is where I draw the line. But let's keep going. Here's a quote from the article. If you care about queer people or yourself are queer, you have absolutely no business eating at Chick-fil-A ever. It's really that straightforward. Well, who are you, article writer, to tell people where they can and cannot go to eat? I mean, that's your opinion and that's fine, but allow others to have their opinion. That's what makes this country great, is that people have freedom of association, freedom of opinion, freedom of speech. What are you going to do if a gay person eats a Chick-fil-A? Write some pointed op-ed? Are you going to harm them? I doubt you're going to do that. And if you do, now you are violating their rights. Allow people to have their rights. Don't try to say you can violate someone's rights because you feel like yours are being violated. That doesn't really make any sense, but let's keep going. And here we go with the whole Jack Dorsey, Twitter CEO kerfuffle. When Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey was called out earlier this week for tweeting about eating at Chick-fil-A during Pride Month, I was shocked to see how many queer people and their allies not only didn't care, but went out of their way to defend the fast food chain. Maybe a lot of gay people don't really care about your particular cause. Maybe they like Chick-fil-A and don't really care about what the owner says. Maybe they are not for gay marriage themselves. Maybe guys like Dave Rubin, I'll place a tweet from him on the screen before you, are actually gay and married and still like Chick-fil-A. How about that? That's his choice. You can't tell him what he can and can't do. Excuses I've heard for continuing to eat at Chick-fil-A range from a nonchalant dismissal of the issue. In the grand scheme of things, eating there isn't really that big of a deal and we have bigger problems to worry about, to an all or nothing paradigm. I can't possibly avoid all of the problematic companies out there. So why should I worry about this one? That's actually a good point. If you are somebody that has some kind of, I don't know, some kind of cause, and you want to exclude a lot of companies that disagree with you, where are you going to actually go to eat? Because you can find something wrong in everything. In every building you go into, it may be a problematic architect that built it. Maybe it's somebody there that doesn't like you for whatever the reason may be. At the end of the day, should you really care? As long as the food is good and not doing anything to put something in it, then that's all that really matters. And I think that people who are against gay marriage don't necessarily hate gay people. Matter of fact, I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that 99.9% of those who are against gay marriage don't really care about your personal sexuality at all. Nor do they care about you in particular. They just want the sanctity of marriage from a religious standpoint, from a social standpoint, to stay the way it is, rather than going down a rabbit hole of unintended consequences of a thing. And then it continues about, the companies where you can and can't go, to a simple admittance that the siren song of the company's kitchens has proven impossible to ignore. I know I shouldn't eat there, but it's just too good not to. To all these flimsy justifications, I say BS. If you care about queer people, or you yourself are queer, you have absolutely no business eating at Chick-fil-A ever. It's really that straightforward. If you're arguing there are other arguably bigger fish, or in this case, chicken to fry, you may not be wrong. Okay, so you admit that. I'm glad you see some of their point of view. However, I think you're underestimating my and probably your ability to be angry about and take action against more than one target at once. Just because Chick-fil-A may not be as quote unquote bad in your view as the Trump administration or countless other folks or corporations, that doesn't mean we shouldn't challenge Chick-fil-A or its anti-queer stance while continuing to call out and work against other offensive and or dangerous entities. What is Chick-fil-A dangerous now? Because the owner says he's against gay marriage. That makes them dangerous? Really? Any effort or energy you dedicate to not filling Chick-fil-A's queer-phobic coffers hilarious does not compromise your ability to simultaneously do the same with other opponents. Surely, like me, you have enough and are sadly constantly generating more outrage to spread around wherever and wherever you may be needed. If you're arguing that virtually every company doing business today is problematic in one way or another, you're not wrong there either. If you want to find other anti-queer culprits, check out the Human Rights Campaign's Corporate Equality Index. But when a corporation is wafting its anti-queer stance directly under your nose, as Chick-fil-A has and continues to do, not giving them more money to use against us is a no-brainer. I'm not saying that in order to be a good person or ensure that you don't support despicable business, you have to hermetically seal yourself inside your home. I mean, that's what it seems like. You can't go anywhere, right? Because you can find an issue with any company that you go to. And it continues, and only eat food you've hydroponically grown, and only wear clothes you've woven on the loom built using recycled popsicle sticks and a stickier variety of bodily fluids. Disgusting. I'm saying that when you know a company is anti-queer, and what's more, when a company like Chick-fil-A goes out of its way to tell you as much, you shouldn't support them no matter how delicious a reason you can order up. Yeah, I know. It sucks that you can't have waffle fries. But you know what sucks even more? Not having equal rights and contributing to the profits of a company that wants to ensure you never do because it believes you're fundamentally disordered or unnatural or sinful or some delightful combination of all three. Okay. I think that is enough of that, because he's just kind of repeating himself at this point. At the end of the day, as I close, I just want to say this. Chicken Tendies didn't do anything wrong. Waffle fries didn't do anything wrong. The owner of the company didn't do anything or say anything wrong. He's giving his personal point of view. That's a great thing about America. Again, you can have a personal opinion and nobody can lock you up for it or persecute you for it in a legal sense. And that's fine. We should be able to have all these points of view, and we shouldn't necessarily be so hateful towards someone because of it. If you want to do that, that's fine, but you shouldn't be badgering or harassing others to feel the same way you do. If someone wants to feel the same way you do, that's fine. If they don't, that's fine as well. and that should be pretty much where it's left. So shout out to Jack for eating at Chick-fil-A. I don't know if he's gay or not. He may be. I don't know. I don't care. I don't care if you gay, straight, if you call yourself a fish, a dolphin. I don't care what you think you are, whatever you know you are, whatever you identify as. It doesn't really matter. I'm for freedom of choice. Don't violate my rights. I'm going to violate yours. The whole thing about gay marriage, as I close for real this time, I think it should be between one man and one woman. That doesn't mean I hate gay people. I have gay people in my family. I don't think anything more or less of them because of their sexuality. I judge them based on the content of their character, and that's it, which is what a guy back in the 60s said we should do. Maybe we should do more of that rather than just this outright cancel culture, hating somebody because of their personal opinion. So what do you think? Do you think that this person was right? If you are gay, you should not eat at Chick-fil-A. Do you think they're wrong? Should you be able to eat wherever you want to eat? Should you be bullied or badgered by an individual who is just stating their point of view? Should you be bullied or badgered by anybody to eat at a particular place because they want you to? Whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.